Okay, so here it is, the next experiment. From the ground up, we got an 8-inch disc levitating a 10-inch disc, which is being pushed down by an 8-inch disc on top of that. It's elevated a little bit so that it's just magnetic energy pressing on the disc and not so much the weight of the disc, laying on the disc. So it'll spin easier, wobble less. Then we got 3 outside magnets pushing in. They're all set up so that it's pushing in, elevating that 10-inch disc right there about a centimeter or a few millimeters. Flick it a little bit. There's no added magnets on the discs. Just enough to make it levitate. It probably doesn't even need that much, but when you put them together like that close, it's really gets frustrating sometimes because they want to flip and flop everywhere. You get them all facing the same way, that close, and you create something that you don't get without doing it. And by all means, I would consider that to be a challenge. If you can, sim what I'm doing in a different format with, say, less magnets or just magnets, no discs at all. It's got to be stable, man. It can't be flopping all over the place. If you can do it without the pole, take the pole out. I just want it to spin at least and be slightly graceful if possible. And I'm interested. I won't diss anybody's whatever anybody makes. I think it's cool, man, especially if you want to try to begin with. It's just, it's amazing how little energy you need to put into these once you get them set up right to spin for a while. It's see, normally it'd be flip-flopping all over the place without that top 8 on there. But it's pushing it down nice, so when the instability of having only 3 magnets on the outside happens, it's stabilized, and hopefully that pressure turns into forward momentum. Because that pressure is going to be there. Just because it isn't bouncing doesn't mean it doesn't want to bounce. Now I'm having, like I said, more magnets come in, and when they come in, we'll finish the puzzle here. And we'll see if having all of them facing in, or having 4 face in and 2 face out kind of thing, to have some variety. I don't know, to utilize the other forces. Because it's it's there, right? You might as well try and use it, right? I don't know if that's right. Whether to use it or ignore it, try to work over it. most people tend to want to try and use it to help propel or create forward motion. And the great thing about spinning a circle is that it simulates forward motion. If you can clock how many times it goes around, just imagine throwing it, like a frisbee even, or like a dart. You're throwing it, and how many times it goes around can be used to calculate how far it goes. Wow. All right. Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody. And as the ideas keep flowing in, I'm going to keep, putting them out there. And that stands. If you can find, because there's no practical purpose for this at the moment. I'm thinking maybe adding some copper to this might be awesome, but there's no practical use. It's just spinning. And right now all it does is levitate, and that's it. I actually have to make it spin. So it just floats. And it's cool though, it's so addicting at the moment. And I just hope that the ideas, the momentum here doesn't stop. Maybe I should post some of my ideas to some open source and see if anybody can use this, because it's pretty cool. And technically the space between the magnets is supposed to simulate the opposite force, but as you can see, it doesn't attract, because the other force is more powerful. Doesn't mean the other force isn't there. See, I want to be able to whip this one, but I can't because the poles are there. So all the calculations that I do in my head for this stuff are different for this one than that one over there, because there's more obstruction, therefore there's less thrust. But yeah, I don't know. Subscribe, give me a holler. If you don't like what I'm doing, don't be afraid to say so. If I get back at you, don't cry. Alright. It's cool, man. Whatever, man. It's all good. This is real. This is real levitation right here. I mean, trust me, man. If I had the education and like the mental wherewithal to set up a circuit board right here, I'd be using electromagnets and pulsing this stuff and having it go forever and whatever. I would do that right away. But right now I'm stuck with permanent magnets. And it's coming together. It's coming together slowly but surely. What the whole thing that spontaneously combusted all this stuff inside of me was a vision of a motorcycle tricycle, motor trike, that could fly on, I guess, anti-gravitational mechanisms. Like they would have wheels, and then the wheels could turn flat, and then the whole thing gets off the ground. But what appears to be 3 is really 6 because the wheel has 2 sides. So what I think is really happening is that artificial environment is being created within the wheel, within the tire. And that just, it sounds really wicked when you think about it. And I don't know where that came from because I don't know anything about anything like that being in existence or even being thought of right now. But I'll tell you what I believe is if we get a bunch of Tesla coils out there, quantum Tesla coils, like just as powerful as the big one, but can like fit on top of a telephone pole or down underground. If they're that powerful, they can go underground and have the same effect. And then you create, just like these magnets right here, a pillow of energy that you can float on. And I don't see why we're not leaning towards that, at least eventually. Because, I just, with how long ago it was invented, I just don't see why we're not using it right now. It's like, yeah, everything would happen faster. But we gotta figure out how we make it quantum, and quantum means it's the same power as the big one, but it's small. Or infinitely stronger than the big one, but it's infinitely smaller. Because you need, as you can see, you need a lot of them for it to be stable and steady. And you need I'd say that's pretty much all you need is that pillow, and then you just use the same force against it. Why can't it be a magnetic field? I think it is a magnetic field. So you just use the same field, like north to north, south to south. Anyway, thank you. That's my idea, thought for me right there. Thank you very much. Please sign up, and we can talk. You can diss if you want. It doesn't matter. This is how I think. And I'm out to help everybody, not just the people that can afford it. And if something like that would help everybody, I hope it would be looked at more seriously. All right. Have a great night.